everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Cait Sarazin, the Senior Content Manager at WWCode, and today we have Dionne Condor-Farrell from the UK. Dionne, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. So Dionne, currently you are a Senior Developer at Transport for London, and you're also a founding core member at UK Black Tech. Can you walk us through your career path and how you ended up here?
Yeah, so I've been in tech for about 19 years. I started off, kind of got into tech by accident, I suppose. I was really interested in maths and business, but didn't quite get the grades that I needed to get on a business studies degree that I wanted to do. So as a compromise I wanted to go to uni. I was the first in my family to go to university. So it was like I needed to get there.
Mhm.
So I took a HND, which is equivalent to half a degree in business decision support, which is a mixture of business, maths and tech. If I'm honest, I wasn't that bothered about the tech bit because I didn't really know what it entailed, but I really wanted to go to uni, so I just took the opportunity. I'd say within about a month, I realised that this tech thing was kind of cool, and I just rolled with it. Still didn't really know what I wanted to focus on. Um, as far as tech was concerned, but I knew that it was something interesting, and it was definitely something that I should push forward with. So that course was for 3 years, and it had a year in industry to get work experience. And then after that, I did an extra year at a different university to get a top up degree, as it was called. Um, and again, that's where I kind of got introduced to databases, and kind of found my passion on that side of things. But as a tech career is concerned, I still didn't know what I would focus on. So I managed to get a place on a graduate scheme at a company called Electronic Data Systems, which was a 2-year program, and you got to have a taste of all different parts of the development life cycle. So I worked in the system testing team, business analysis teams, um, requirements gathering, some other stuff. And I ended up, development was like my last placement. And I just kind of thought I'll give programming a go and see if it works. If not, then I'll fall back onto my first love, which was databases. And I just clicked with it straight away. So I started off as a C developer, which was I was going to say interesting, but probably not. Most people weren't interested in learning C at the time. This is when Java was out and was the latest and greatest thing. And all my friends were doing Java, but I was pushed to do C, mainly because nobody else wanted to do it. And so I decided to learn Java in my lunch breaks out of a book. Um, and then I did the Java certification exam in June 2004. And then kind of thought then, okay, people will give me a chance and take me seriously as a Java developer. But it took probably another 5 6 months for anyone to take me seriously and allow me to work on a business critical project, where I could get some in-depth experience. But yeah, I'd say at the end of that graduate scheme, I'd got a bit of taste of every area, and I just kind of decided programming was for me. So that's how I pursued my career. So I moved on to another company, University of Nottingham, working on their student profile. Um, and that kind of introduced me to Java portlets, and I felt like a professional Java developer there. And then I moved on to University of Manchester, working on their student portal, building it up from scratch. Um, and that's when I became a senior. So for me, moving between junior roles and senior roles, it was by moving company. And that's sort of been the case with most organizations that I've worked for. Um, so even though I didn't have anybody at junior level below me, but I guess it comes down to years of experience and breadth of what you've worked on, that gets you to that senior level. And then, so in 2007, I moved to London. So I'm originally from the north of England in Manchester. My first job was in Sheffield, and then I moved to London 2007 and started work at Transport for London. Came in as a senior Java developer, working on more internal corporate applications. Um, so covering Java, web applications, the JSPs, the servlets, and working with Oracle Spatial Database. So displaying GIS graphical information. So using a lot of maps to display different TFL assets. Um, and so I did that for 10 years, which, if I'm honest, was way too long in one area. And then about 3 years ago, I moved to customer technology, which is like a total different world, um, and moved into more agile development methodologies, whereas before it was quite more waterfall. Um, so I started to learn about cloud computing, Java API services. Um, so again, by moving kind of teams and moving departments, it felt like I was it was a new job, and I was working for a new company again, even though it was the same company. But it was great to move around. And then about 2 years ago, I decided to become a mobile developer. So I've transitioned to Android, which initially naively thought it was going to be an easy transition, coming from back-end application services, API services. But it's been quite a learning curve, I guess, because I've had to pick up things quite quickly for such a high-profile project that we've been working on. So literally, I had a couple of weeks to kind of get up to speed, teach myself Android development, and then as at the same time building up a team from scratch. There was just myself first as an Android developer, and then over the 2 years, we've kind of grown the team. But it's been an amazing experience. I feel like after all these years, I've actually finally found my passion. I love coding, but I also love visual things. And so mobile app development is the best of both worlds for me. And that's how I've reached to where I am now.
Wow, that was a really incredible story. Thank you for sharing all that. So earlier in your career, you mentioned being in a lot of situations where, especially when you were in college and learning, where you didn't know which direction you wanted to go in, and that can be really overwhelming. Wanting to like know exactly where you're going, having a plan. So how did you navigate that?
It was mainly by trying things out.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have missed out on some great opportunities where I've let kind of fear get in the way because I don't know which way or I've never tried it before. But a lot of the things that I have kind of, swallowed the fear and got on with it anyway, has helped you to progress and help you to build, grow and, your skills and learn things. So I'll just say, like, you don't know until you try. So it's just putting yourself out there and just keep trying things until you find the thing that gels with you. I mean, like I said, it's taken me like, I don't know, 15 years to find out what in tech actually I'm really passionate about, and that is mobile development for me. I wouldn't have got there if I didn't take this opportunity that came 2 years ago, because I didn't have any mobile experience, but it was a vision that I had, and I just went with it.
Yeah, definitely. That's great advice. And you were talking about how a lot of your transitions, especially from junior to senior developer, was by switching companies. And a lot of times when you move into a role, especially when it's a promotion, you're going up, we sometimes think that we need the same skills that got us to that level. But oftentimes you need some of them, but you also need to develop new skills. So, how did you make that transition or other transitions in your career? And was there anything that you really learned along the way in terms of a new set of skills you had to develop, or like what did that look like for you?
I think the most important skill is probably not a technical skill. I'd say it's more of a soft skill. Definitely communication and being able to network and build relationships with people.
Mhm.
Um, Especially at senior level, you're kind of having to collaborate with other people, not just developers, so the system testers, designers, etc. And you need to be able to talk to people who maybe don't have a technical background, um, and then relay those information with more technical people. So for me, definitely learning to network, which to be fair, I got that skill outside of my day job, getting
Mhm.
involved in the tech communities, with initiatives like UK Black Tech, organising and setting up events to encourage people to communicate with each other and network, and that's helped me grow as a senior developer as well. Um, I guess we're very known for not being the most communicative people, or sort of headsets on and head down and going for it, but you need that soft skill side as well, in order to be really effective.
Definitely, it's definitely a really great point. The soft skills, we don't always think everyone a lot of times focuses on the technical skills, but as you move up, especially as a developer, for what you were saying, that yeah, it is really crucial. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And it's really amazing. You have 19 years of experience. It's a really long time in the tech industry. So what has that experience been like for you as a woman in tech?
um if I'm honest, it can get quite lonely sometimes. I mean, certainly in my early years, there was not that many women in the organizations that I worked in, and certainly not like in hands-on technical roles.
Mhm.
And so there was a lot of kind of people in disbelief that you are a developer and why you've chosen that route, and wouldn't you consider, being an office manager or PA or something like that. um that tends to be the usual conversations that kind of go on. um but I'm I'll get quite motivated when people sort of tell me that I can't do something, um, or that I'd be crap at it. In fact, I became a Java developer because one guy told me I'd be crap, and might as well not bother. And that just kind of gave me fuel in my belly to push through and prove him wrong. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I've not really worked with that many women in tech. I think in my first company there was maybe three or four women out of a team of 100. Um, Most other ones, the other two, three companies I've worked for, again, maybe one other. Um, and certainly, in the last 13 years, I've seen less than a handful. Um, but I tend to get on with people from all walks of life, so that helps. And for me, it's just, well, they just have to get used to me because I'm not going anywhere. So
I love that. It's a great attitude. So, from all your expertise and experience, do you have any advice for other women in tech?
I would say if you really want to do it, if you're not in it already and you really want to do it, um, just push on regardless. There'll be many people who will try and talk you out of what you want to do. Um, a lot of negativity come your way, and then also you have to deal with the negative talk that you do to yourself, which can sometimes be more impactful than what other people have got to say. And it's just, I guess, working out what your why is and remembering that constantly, that you've got to have a purpose and a reason for doing it, right? And it's just about remembering that. So when times get hard, and say you're working on a project and you're struggling with it, and you feel like you want to quit, that if you remember why you started in the first place and what your passion and your purpose is, then that should help you to kind of push on. You definitely need perseverance in this game. I could have quit many times, especially in the last 2 years with mobile app development. But just having your mind why you're doing it, and the bigger picture, and that should kind of push you through. And also finding a very supportive um, network or community has been really helpful to me. Women Who Codes, I joined, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. And I was at a point in my life and my career where things were really stagnant. And at one point, I was feeling that my skills were going downhill. Um, and so finding the community was just brilliant. That's kind of what introduced me to Android development in the first place. Um, and just kind of reignited my passion for learning and building things that are interesting outside of the day job. Um, so yeah, just finding a supportive community or a supportive network that can keep you going with like-minded people, so that when you're hearing the negativity outside, that you've got people who are on the same wavelength of you, that know why you're doing it.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all that. And thank you for being here. I think this is going to really resonate with a lot of our community. You have so much experience in this world, and it's really inspiring to see you continue to persevere despite all the setbacks. So thank you so much for being here, Dionne. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much for having me.